This title is presented to you by Soundlibra.com. For more audiobooks like this, click the link in the description or visit our website at Soundlibra.com. Today, we're diving into what might be the most underrated superpower, patience.
We live in a world that's constantly telling us to get it now, with instant results. But what if waiting is actually winning?
Exactly. This episode is about understanding why patience isn't just about enduring delay, but about actively building a more successful, fulfilling life. Before we jump in, a quick heads up. While we're discussing mental well-being, this isn't medical or professional mental health advice. So always consult a professional for your specific needs.
That's a great point, Alex. So let's start with the basics. What exactly is patience, and why do we often struggle with it?
At its core, patience is the ability to tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset. It's about managing our expectations and emotions when things don't happen on our desired timeline. Think about it. Whenever you press a button, you want something to happen immediately. That's the instant gratification culture we're all swimming in. Whether it's a microwave finishing, a download completing, or a notification popping up, we're trained to expect instant rewards.
And that training has consequences, right? It makes us feel agitated when we have to wait, even for just a few minutes.
Absolutely. This constant expectation of immediacy can erode our ability to focus, to persevere, and to even enjoy the process of achieving something. It can lead to frustration, stress, and making rash decisions we later regret. This is the opposite of winning. If you think about the most successful people you know, they usually have a high tolerance for the boring parts of growth. They understand that the seeds you plant today don't provide shade until years later.
So, if impatience is the norm, how do we even begin to cultivate patience? What are the benefits of actually having this superpower?
That's a fantastic question. The benefits are truly far-reaching. Let's consider your career, for example. Major achievements like mastering a new skill, getting a promotion, or launching a successful project rarely happen overnight. They require sustained effort, learning from setbacks, and often a significant amount of waiting for opportunities to materialize. Someone who's patient is more likely to stick with challenging tasks, to learn from feedback rather than getting defensive, and to build a strong reputation for reliability.
I can see that. Instead of giving up when a project hits a roadblock, a patient person is more likely to troubleshoot and find a solution because they aren't panicked by the delay.
Precisely. And it's not just about professional success. Think about parenting. Raising children is a masterclass in patience. They learn and grow at their own pace. There are tantrums, slow learning curves, and constant demands. A patient parent can navigate these challenges with more calm, empathy, and understanding, which ultimately leads to stronger family bonds. When we lose our patience with a child, we're usually reacting to our own internal schedule being disrupted rather than the child's actual needs.
Oh, definitely. Trying to rush a child through something they're not ready for usually backfires spectacularly. Patience allows for nurturing and guidance. It creates a safe space for them to fail and try again.
Exactly. And then there are our relationships with other adults. Whether it's with a partner, friends, or family, patience is the glue that holds them together. It means listening when someone is struggling, even if it takes a long time for them to articulate their feelings. It means giving people the benefit of the doubt and understanding that everyone has their own journey and their own pace. Imagine a world where we didn't jump to conclusions the moment a friend took 2 hours to text back.
So, patience isn't just passive waiting, it's an active skill that benefits us in almost every area of life: career, family, and friendships.
You've got it. And there's actually some fascinating science behind this. One of the key concepts is delayed gratification. This is the ability to resist an immediate reward in favor of a later, more valuable reward. It sounds simple, but its impact is profound. Studies have shown that individuals with stronger delayed gratification skills tend to have better academic performance, better physical health, and more stable relationships. Think of delayed gratification like a muscle. Every time you choose a long-term goal over the short-term impulse, you're strengthening that muscle.
Delayed gratification really is a cornerstone of patience, isn't it? It's about making a conscious choice for the long-term benefit over the short-term pleasure. It's the difference between eating a snack now or waiting for a healthy, delicious dinner later.
It is. And understanding this connection is the first step. We're often told to be patient, but we don't always understand why it's so powerful or how it actually works. This series, The Patience Blueprint, is designed to demystify patience and give you practical tools and strategies to cultivate it. We want to move away from the idea that patience is just suffering in silence and move toward the idea that patience is a strategic choice.
I'm already feeling more hopeful. It's reassuring to know that patience is a skill we can develop, not just something we're born with or without. I used to think I was just an impatient person, but now I see it's more like a habit I can change.
Absolutely. We're going to explore different facets of patience over the next 12 episodes. We'll look at the common enemies of patience, like distraction and the digital world. We will spend time understanding our personal triggers, those specific things that make us snap. We'll delve into powerful techniques like mindfulness and meditation to help us tame the inner storm of impatience.
And we'll tackle how to apply patience in real-world scenarios, from navigating everyday annoyances like traffic jams to handling major life challenges like a career transition. It sounds like a very comprehensive approach.
It is. We'll cover patience in your career, building it within your family life, and strengthening your relationships. Then we'll move into forging fortitude through hardship, deepening your mindfulness practice, and finally, learning the art of letting go of the things we cannot control. By looking at patience through all these different lenses, we can build a toolkit that works for any situation.
It sounds like by the end of the series, we'll have a solid patience blueprint to guide us through life's ups and downs.
That's the goal. This episode is just the beginning. We've introduced the idea that patience is a superpower, not a weakness. We've touched on why our instant gratification culture makes it so challenging, and we've highlighted the incredible benefits patience brings to our careers, our families, and our relationships. We've also introduced the concept of delayed gratification as a key component of building patience. Remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and perhaps a bit of waiting.
Essentially, we've learned that patience isn't about passively waiting, but actively choosing the long-term rewards. It's a skill we can all learn and master with practice and the right mindset.
Exactly. This is about shifting our mindset and developing practical tools. So, if you're ready to stop being a victim of impatience and start winning with patience, you're in the right place. We're going to break this down into manageable steps so that anyone can start seeing results in their daily life immediately.
We're excited to take you on this journey. Join us next time as we decode the enemies of patience and uncover the common distractions that steal our calm.
Next episode, Decoding Distraction, the Enemies of Patience. Welcome back. Last time we covered patience as a superpower. Now let's tackle the enemies of patience.
It's so true that patience is an active strategy, not just passive waiting. So, Alex, what's next on our journey?
Excellent question, Lisa. Today, we're tackling the enemies of patience. In this episode, we're decoding distraction, the enemies of patience. We'll explore how digital connection and information overload hinder our ability to wait and how to spot these patterns in our lives.
Enemies of patience. Sounds intriguing. I'm already thinking of notification sounds and endless scrolling.
Exactly. Let's start with digital distractions. Our smartphones are designed to capture our attention with every ping and update, pulling us away from our intended tasks.
And we often feel compelled to check them immediately, even if we know it's not important. That instinct disrupts our focus.
That constant pull fragments our concentration. When our flow is broken repeatedly, we lose patience and can become frustrated or give up on tasks. This repeated interruption prevents deep focus, which is essential for building patience.
So, it's the interruption itself happening again and again that kills patience. It prevents that deep focus.
Absolutely. Next is information overload. We have vast access to information, creating a pressure to keep up, known as FOMO, the fear of missing out. This constant need to stay informed means we jump from one piece of information to the next.
I definitely feel that need to consume information constantly to stay relevant.
This constant consumption leaves little room for deep thought or patient understanding. We jump from topic to topic, rarely allowing ourselves to truly engage with complexity. This shallow engagement makes it hard to develop patience, because true understanding often requires sustained attention. This shallow engagement makes it hard to develop patience.
Like trying to drink from a fire hose, you get wet, but don't absorb much.
A great analogy. It shows how overload prevents deeper understanding that comes with patient effort. Now, consider the culture of urgent demands. Everything feels like it needs an immediate response.
Even if something isn't truly urgent, it feels that way because everyone else is treating it as an emergency.
This constant urgency creates anxiety and primes us for impatience. When we expect instant results, waiting for anything feels unbearable, weakening our patience. This pressure for instant results makes any delay feel intolerable.
So we have digital distractions, information overload, and that pervasive sense of urgency. These external forces wear down our ability to wait.
Precisely. These aren't minor issues. They challenge our capacity for patience, creating a mindset that craves immediacy. Checking email might seem productive, but it often pulls us away from activities that build patience. We need to understand how these external pressures chip away at our ability to wait for things to unfold.
So, the first step is recognizing how these distractions impact us individually. It's about becoming aware of these enemies.
Exactly. We must become detectives of our own attention. Ask yourself, how often do I check my phone without a purpose? How much time do I spend passively consuming versus actively engaging? Do I feel pressure to respond instantly? By asking these questions, we start to see the pattern of impatience emerge.
By seeing these patterns, we can understand how they work against our goal of patience, like identifying weeds in a garden before they choke out the flowers.
A perfect metaphor. We can't build patience if we don't acknowledge what weakens it. To recap this episode, the enemies of patience are digital distractions, information overload, and the culture of urgency. These forces all contribute to a sense of wanting things right now.
These enemies make us feel agitated, frustrated, and unfocused, the opposite of patient. They actively work against our ability to wait and focus.
Understanding these obstacles is the crucial first step. In our next episode, we'll explore the root of impatience and understand your personal triggers.
So, to recap today, we've identified the major modern day enemies of patience: digital distractions, information overload, and the constant demand for urgency. Recognizing these forces is the vital first step in building our patience blueprint.
Next episode, the root of impatience, understanding your triggers. Welcome back to the Patience Blueprint. Today, we're uncovering the roots of impatience.
That's right, Alex. Last episode felt like detective work on the outside. This time, it's an internal investigation into why we want things now.
Exactly. Impatience often stems from deeper patterns. One major culprit is anxiety. When we feel anxious, our minds race, and this internal busyness makes it hard to just be present.
So, anxiety creates a false sense of urgency, even when there's no real rush.
Precisely. This links to the fear of missing out, or FOMO. We see what others are doing and feel we're falling behind if we're not constantly moving or producing. This fuels impatience.
FOMO is huge. It makes us feel we need to keep up with a pace that might not be right for us.
Absolutely. Perfectionism is another trigger. Perfectionists have an ideal vision. When reality falls short or takes too long, impatience flares. It's about reaching a flawless target instantly.
So, it's not just about speed, but wanting perfection immediately and getting frustrated when it doesn't happen.
You've got it. Impatience can also be learned. We might have grown up valuing speed above all else, or where frustration led to quick, unhelpful solutions.
Like a home where everything had to be done immediately and delays cause stress. We absorb those patterns.
Indeed, for some, impatience is a defense mechanism, a way to avoid confronting uncomfortable emotions or challenging situations. If you're impatient to finish a tough talk, you're avoiding the discomfort of it.
So, instead of dealing with difficult feelings, we just want to rush past them. This is really showing me the internal drivers of impatience.
That's the crucial takeaway. To cultivate patience, we must first become detectives of our own impatience. This means identifying our personal triggers. What situations, thoughts, or feelings reliably make you impatient?
Identifying your triggers. It's like knowing what sets off a fire alarm in your emotional world.
Exactly. Let's break down how. First, pay attention to your physical sensations. Where do you feel impatience? A tightness in your chest? A clenching jaw? Restless fidgeting? Your body often signals it first.
A physical check in. When I feel that urge to rush, I should notice what's happening in my body.
Precisely. Next, notice your thoughts. What are you telling yourself? This is taking too long. I can't stand this. Or why aren't they faster? These are clues to your underlying expectations and anxieties.
So, it's a feeling and a whole internal story.
Absolutely. The more aware you are of those thoughts, the more you can question them. Are they true? Are they helpful? This awareness is the first step to change. Then consider the context. What's happening around you? A specific person, task, or the time of day?
So, we're looking at the what, the when, and the how of our impatience.
You're summarizing it perfectly. It's important to do this without judgment. The goal isn't to criticize yourself, but to understand yourself better. Think of it as gathering data about your internal landscape.
That's a helpful reframing. Instead of, I'm so impatient, it's this situation triggers impatience in me, and here's what that feels like and what I'm thinking.
Exactly. Once you've identified your triggers, you can see the patterns. You might be impatient in lines, with slow computers, or when someone explains something you know. These are your red flags.
And knowing these red flags helps us prepare or handle them differently.
That's exactly where we're heading. This self-awareness is the foundation. Without understanding why and what makes you impatient, strategies will be superficial. But knowing your triggers lets you anticipate them and develop conscious responses.
So, to recap, today we explored the roots of impatience, anxiety, FOMO, perfectionism, learned behaviors, and avoiding discomfort. The key first step is self awareness, identifying personal triggers by noticing physical sensations, thoughts, and context, all without judgment.
By understanding these roots and recognizing our triggers, we're moving from reacting to impatience to understanding its source. That's a powerful first step towards cultivating genuine patience. Next episode, we'll begin harnessing this understanding. We'll introduce the power of the pause and how to master your inner dialogue for more patient living. Welcome back to the Patience Blueprint. Last time, we pinpointed our personal triggers for impatience.
That's right, Alex. We're moving on to the solution for mastering waiting. This is episode 4, and we're introducing patience meditation.
Patience meditation is about cultivating inner stillness. It's learning to observe your thoughts and feelings without immediately reacting.
So, it's a pause button for our impulses. We notice the urge to snap or rush, and then just observe it.
Precisely. Think of your mind as a busy highway. Impatience is like fast cars demanding attention. Meditation is like stepping off the highway to observe them without being swept away.
That's a great analogy. What's the first step in stepping off the highway?
Focusing on your breath. Our breath is a constant, a gentle anchor in the present moment. Slowing and deepening our breath signals our nervous system to relax, calming frustration.
So, we just breathe?
It's about mindful breathing. Bring your full attention to the sensation of air entering and leaving your body. Notice the feeling as your chest or belly rises and falls. When your mind wanders, gently guide your attention back to your breath without judgment.
Mind wandering is the tricky part. 1 minute I'm breathing, the next I'm planning my grocery list.
That's normal. The success isn't in a wandering mind. It's in noticing it has wandered and gently bringing it back. Each time you do that, you strengthen your patience muscle.
So, even if I spend the whole time bringing my mind back, that's progress?
Absolutely. Think of it as training. You wouldn't lift a heavy weight on your first day at the gym. This is the same. The goal is to develop the ability to direct your attention.
Okay, so there's mindful breathing. What else is in patience meditation?
The body scan. This helps you become aware of physical sensations and release tension. You bring your attention to a part of your body, like your feet, and just notice any sensations. No need to change them.
Just observe? That sounds simple, yet challenging.
It is. You systematically move your attention through your entire body, simply noticing. What do you feel in your shoulders? Is there tightness in your jaw?
And how does this help with patience?
Impatient thoughts often come with physical tension. We clench our fists, furrow our brows. A body scan helps us notice these physical signals. When we notice tension, we can consciously try to release it, which can profoundly affect our mental state.
It's about reconnecting with our physical selves to ground ourselves and detach from stressful thoughts.
Exactly. You create a dialogue between your mind and body, learning to respond with awareness rather than impulsive reactivity. This helps us recognize triggers as physical sensations we can influence.
So, to recap, patience meditation involves mindful breathing, using our breath as an anchor to calm our nervous system, and the body scan to notice and release tension that accompanies impatience.
That's a perfect summary. The most important thing for beginners is to start small. Begin with just 2 or 3 minutes. Consistency matters more than duration initially.
So, even 5 minutes of focusing on the breath or a mini body scan can make a difference.
Absolutely. Over time, those few minutes will expand, and you'll notice a shift. You'll find yourself pausing before reacting, observing an impulse without acting on it. This is taming that inner storm.
It's building mental and emotional resilience. So, for our listeners, start small, be consistent, and practice self-compassion. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back. That is the practice.
Precisely. It's about progress, not perfection. It's about cultivating inner space where patience can grow. Next episode, the power of pause and mastering self-talk for patience.
Thanks for listening.
Welcome back. Last time, we dove deep into understanding your personal triggers for impatience. Now, let's build on that crucial self-awareness and tackle something incredibly powerful: the internal conversation or self-talk that fuels our impatience.
That's right, Alex. We've all experienced it, that nagging voice in our head that gets us worked up when things don't go our way. It's like a constant commentary, right? And if that commentary is negative or demanding, it's a direct pipeline to frustration and impatience.
Exactly, Lisa. Think of your self-talk as the narrator of your life. Is that narrator a stern drill sergeant, constantly criticizing and demanding immediate results? Or is it a calm, encouraging coach, offering support and understanding? The difference can be monumental for our ability to wait patiently.
So, the first step is recognizing what our inner narrator is actually saying. It's not always obvious because it feels so natural, so automatic.
It truly is automatic, and that's why we need to consciously engage with it. One of the most effective ways to start is by identifying common thought patterns that lead to impatience. Are you frequently thinking things like, this is taking too long, or this shouldn't be happening, or I can't stand this? These are all declarative statements that, while they feel true in the moment, are often exaggerations or rigid demands on reality.
So it's about noticing those all or nothing thoughts. Like if the traffic light is red, it's not just a light, it's a personal attack on my schedule.
Precisely. And that's where the power of pausing comes in. Before you react to that traffic light, or that slow loading web page, or that colleague who's taking their time, take a mental pause. Just a brief moment. And in that pause, listen to that inner voice. What is it saying? Is it calm and reasonable, or is it spiraling into frustration?
Okay, so I pause, I listen. Then what? How do I actually master the self talk, not just listen to it?
That's where reframing comes in. Reframing means taking that impatient, negative thought and consciously rewriting it into something more neutral or even positive. Instead of this is taking too long, you might reframe it as this is an opportunity to practice patience, or there are things I can do while I wait.
I like that. It shifts the focus from the problem, the waiting, to a potential solution or a different perspective. Instead of dwelling on the annoyance, I can find a small positive or a constructive action.
Absolutely. And this isn't about denying reality. It's about choosing how you interpret that reality. Another common impatient thought is, this shouldn't be happening. That's a rigid expectation. We can reframe that to something like, this is happening, and I can choose how to respond. It acknowledges the situation without judgment and empowers you to make a choice.
So we're moving from a victim mentality. Why is this happening to me? To an empowered stance. This is happening, and I can handle it.
Exactly. And this ties directly back to what we discussed previously about your triggers. When you identify a triggering situation, you can proactively prepare your self-talk. For example, if you know that waiting in long lines makes you anxious, you can remind yourself before you even get in line. Lines can be long. I'll use this time to listen to your podcast, or plan my day, or just relax my shoulders.
That's so practical. It's like having a pre-written script for those challenging moments. And what about those times when the negative self-talk is really relentless? Are there techniques for that?
Yes, and that's where positive affirmations come into play. Affirmations are short, positive statements that you repeat to yourself. They're designed to reinforce desired beliefs and attitudes. For patience, you could use affirmations like, I am capable of waiting, patience is a strength, or good things come to those who wait.
I've heard of affirmations before, but sometimes they can feel a bit disingenuous if you don't truly believe them. Like saying, I'm a millionaire when you're broke. How do you make patience affirmations work?
That's a great point, Lisa. For affirmations to be effective, they need to resonate with you, even if it's just a little bit. The key is to choose affirmations that feel believable, or at least aspirational. Instead of an extreme statement, try something like, I am practicing patience, or I am building my patience muscle. It focuses on the process and your effort, which is much more grounded.
That makes them feel much more achievable. So, instead of forcing a belief, You're acknowledging your current effort and intention.
Exactly. And the more you repeat these affirmations, ideally regularly, the more they start to sink in and shape your unconscious thought patterns. Think of it like watering a plant. You don't see growth overnight, but with consistent watering, the plant thrives. Your positive self-talk is that consistent watering for your patients.
So, to recap what we've covered so far, first, actively identify impatient, negative self talk. Second, practice pausing and listening to that inner monologue. Third, consciously reframe those negative thoughts into more neutral or positive ones. And fourth, use positive affirmations to reinforce a patient mindset.
You got it. And remember, this is a skill. It takes practice. There will be days when you slip up, when that impatient voice shouts louder. That's okay. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. When you notice yourself falling back into old patterns, just gently acknowledge it and bring yourself back to your chosen reframes or affirmations. That self-compassion is also a vital part of building patience.
Self compassion is so important. It's easy to beat ourselves up for feeling impatient, which just creates a negative cycle. But by being kind to ourselves, we create a more fertile ground for patience to grow.
Indeed, this inner dialogue, this self-talk, it's one of the most potent tools we have in our patience toolkit. By mastering the conversation we have with ourselves, we can transform our experience of waiting from a source of agony into an opportunity for growth and inner peace. We are essentially retraining our internal narrator to be an ally, not an antagonist, in our journey to cultivate patience.
It really does feel like a superpower once you start to get a handle on it, like you're building internal resilience.
That's a great way to put it, Lisa. And this foundational understanding of managing our inner world is crucial as we move forward. We'll take these principles of managing our internal state and apply them directly to the everyday annoyances that test our patience.
Fantastic. I'm really looking forward to that.
Me too. Thanks for joining us on the Patience Blueprint. Next episode, Patience in Practice, Navigating Everyday Annoyances. Welcome back to the Patience Blueprint. Last time, we explored understanding your triggers and mastering your inner dialogue.
That's right. We learned how to catch impatient thoughts and reframe them by telling ourselves, this is temporary, or I can handle this.
Exactly. And today, we're putting that knowledge into practice. This episode is all about navigating those everyday annoyances that test our patience.
Oh, I need this. My morning commute is practically a daily obstacle course in impatience.
You're not alone. Traffic jams are a classic test. When you're stuck, your mind often races ahead, creating stories about the worst-case scenario. The first step is to acknowledge this is just a moment, not a catastrophe. Remember our self-talk?
Yes. So, instead of thinking, I'm going to be late, this is a disaster, I could try, this is frustrating, but it's not the end of the world. I will get there when I get there.
Precisely. You reframe the narrative. And you can add another layer, using that time intentionally. Instead of fuming, listen to a podcast or practice deep breathing. Inhale calm, exhale frustration.
That's a great idea. Shifting my focus from the problem to a solution, or even a distraction, makes it feel less overwhelming.
Exactly. You're not letting the external situation dictate your internal state. Now, what about waiting in line?
Ah, the slow-moving queue. My mind instantly starts tapping its foot. I find myself judging the speed of the person at the front.
That's the impatience alarm bell. For waiting, use mindful observation. Instead of mentally rushing others, try observing your surroundings. Notice the details. It's like turning a mildly irritating experience into a micro opportunity for mindfulness.
So instead of just staring ahead and seething, I could actually look around. That feels counterintuitive, but I can see how it would pull me out of my own head.
It does. And you can also use that moment to plan something small and positive for yourself later. When I get home, I'm going to make a cup of tea. It's about creating small pockets of pleasant anticipation.
I like that. It's like creating a reward system for enduring the wait. We're using our existing self talk strategies in specific, common scenarios.
Absolutely. We're building those patience muscles. Let's talk about minor technical glitches or mistakes. You're trying to send an important email and the internet cuts out.
Oh no, that's the worst. My first instinct is panic. What will people think?
That's the body's natural alarm system kicking in, signaling possible trouble. For these moments, the key is rapid problem solving combined with a calm internal voice. Instead of spiraling into what ifs, immediately think, okay, what's the next logical step?
So, it's about immediate action and less about dwelling on the mistake. I can see how focusing on the solution bypasses the emotional panic.
Exactly. And you can even use humor. Sometimes a lighthearted, well, that was a typical Tuesday, can defuse the tension. Remember, many of these everyday annoyances are minor setbacks, not major crises.
It really comes down to recognizing that feeling of impatience, pausing, and then choosing a different response. Are there any other common scenarios?
Let's consider a slow working computer. You're ready to get things done, and your technology is just not cooperating.
Ugh, yes. That makes me want to physically shake the computer. My patience wears thin very quickly.
And that's a perfect example where the external factor is completely out of your control. Your impatient reaction is essentially fighting against something you cannot change. So, how can we apply our patience blueprint here?
We go back to what we've learned. Acknowledge the frustration. Maybe take a deep breath. And then, instead of staring at the spinning circle, perhaps I can use that time to quickly jot down some notes for the next task.
That's perfect, Lisa. You've hit on it. Acknowledge, pause, and redirect. You're not passively suffering, you're actively choosing how to respond. These everyday annoyances are like the training grounds for our patience.
They really are. It's not just about being patient in big moments, but about cultivating that inner calm through the small, persistent irritations of daily life. It makes the journey so much smoother. So, to recap our practice session today, we've identified common annoyances like traffic, waiting in lines, and minor tech glitches. For each, we've reinforced the importance of recognizing impatience, taking a pause, and using conscious self talk to reframe the situation. We can either solve the problem, find a distraction, practice mindfulness, or use humor.
That's a fantastic summary, Lisa. And remember, the more you practice these techniques in small moments, the stronger your patience muscle becomes. It's all about building that patience blueprint one daily annoyance at a time.
It's a process, but I feel much more equipped to handle my commute tomorrow.
That's the spirit. And that brings us to the end of this episode. Next episode, the long game of career and how patience is key for growth and achievement. Welcome back to the Patience Blueprint. Today, we tackle your career.
The workplace can feel like a constant push for immediate results, so talking about patience there might seem counterintuitive. But as we've discussed from the very beginning, patience isn't about being passive. It's about strategic waiting and consistent effort.
Exactly. And nowhere is that more evident than in building a successful career. Think about it, Lisa. Very few people achieve significant professional milestones overnight. It's a journey, often a marathon, not a sprint. And patience is your fuel for that journey.
So, how does patience actually translate into career growth? I'm picturing someone waiting endlessly for a promotion they feel they deserve. Is that the kind of patience we're talking about?
That's a good question, and it highlights a common misconception. It's not about passively waiting and hoping for the best. It's about understanding that growth takes time, and that involves consistent effort and learning. For example, let's consider skill development. When you're learning a new skill for your job, can you master it in a day?
Of course not. It takes practice, repetition, and a willingness to stumble and learn from mistakes. That's already a form of patience, isn't it? Accepting that you won't be an expert immediately.
Precisely. And that ties back to what we discussed in episode 1, the superpower of patience and why waiting is winning. In your career, that means investing time in learning without expecting instant mastery. It's about trusting the process of acquiring knowledge or a new ability.
I can see that.
So, it's about patience with the learning curve.
Yes, the learning curve is a perfect analogy, and it extends to promotions and career advancement. When you're aiming for a higher position or a new challenge, patience means understanding that your organization has its own timelines and processes. It's about delivering excellent work consistently, building your reputation, and networking effectively, rather than demanding recognition before it's earned or realistically possible.
So, it's a combination of self improvement and understanding external factors. It's not just about waiting, it's about using the waiting time wisely.
You've got it. Consider a big, complex project. These often have unforeseen challenges. Impatience might lead to frustration, cutting corners, or blaming others when things go wrong. Patience, however, allows you to approach these challenges with a clear head. It enables you to problem solve systematically, communicate effectively with your team, and adapt to setbacks without derailing the entire effort.
That makes sense. Instead of getting flustered, a patient person can think, okay, this is a hiccup. How do we overcome it?
Exactly. And this ability to navigate challenges calmly is a huge asset in any professional setting. Employers value individuals who can handle pressure and setbacks with grace and resilience. That's a direct outcome of cultivating patience. Remember the enemies of patience we talked about in episode 2? Distraction and impulsivity. In a career context, impulsive decisions or constant distraction can lead to mistakes that set you back significantly.
Right.
Making a rash decision about a project or getting easily sidetracked by less important tasks can derail your progress, or even your entire career trajectory.
Absolutely. Patience also plays a crucial role in building professional relationships. Building trust with colleagues, mentors, and clients takes time. It's about consistent reliability, fair dealing, and understanding different perspectives. Impatience can lead to misunderstandings, damaged relationships, and missed opportunities for collaboration.
So, if I'm impatient with a colleague who's taking a different approach, I might just alienate them instead of finding common ground.
Precisely. Patience in relationships means giving people the benefit of the doubt, actively listening to their viewpoints, and being willing to work through differences constructively. This fosters a supportive professional network, which is invaluable for long-term career success. It's about planting seeds of trust and letting them grow, rather than expecting immediate fruit.
That's a great metaphor. Planting seeds of trust. It really emphasizes the long-term aspect we've been discussing. So, we've talked about skill development, promotions, handling projects, and building relationships. Are there any other key career areas where patience is vital?
One significant area is delayed gratification, which we touched upon in episode 1. In your career, this could manifest as choosing a path that offers greater long-term potential, even if it means a lower starting salary or a less glamorous role initially. It's about resisting the urge for immediate rewards in favor of a more fulfilling and prosperous future.
That sounds like a really tough choice sometimes, especially when you have immediate financial needs or see friends taking seemingly faster routes to success.
It certainly can be, but a patient mindset helps you evaluate opportunities based on their long-term value, not just their short-term appeal. It's about sacrificing immediate comfort for future gain. Think of it like investing. You don't expect your stock portfolio to double overnight. You invest wisely, and you let it grow over time. Your career is a much larger, more important investment.
So, patience helps us make wiser, more strategic career choices. What are some tangible strategies someone can use to cultivate this kind of patience in their professional life? We've discussed meditation and self talk for general patience, but are there specific workplace tactics?
Great question. One strategy is to break down large career goals into smaller, manageable steps. This makes the journey feel less overwhelming and allows you to celebrate small victories along the way, which can fuel your motivation and patience. For example, if your goal is to become a team lead, your smaller steps might be taking on more responsibility for specific tasks, seeking out leadership training, or mentoring junior colleagues.
That's like building the career brick by brick. Each small step is a win, and it keeps you moving forward without feeling like you're stuck staring at the giant skyscraper you want to build.
Exactly. Another strategy is to actively seek feedback and act on it. Impatient individuals might dismiss constructive criticism or become defensive. A patient professional understands that feedback is a gift, a tool for growth. It might sting a little, but it provides valuable insights to help you improve. So, actively ask for it, listen carefully, and then patiently work on the areas identified.
That requires a good dose of humility, doesn't it? Accepting that you don't have all the answers.
It absolutely does. And patience is deeply intertwined with humility. Finally, cultivate a habit of reflection. Set aside a few minutes each week to review your progress, identify any challenges, and appreciate how far you've come. This reflection helps you maintain perspective and reinforces the value of your patient efforts.
So, to recap this episode, patience in your career isn't about idly waiting. It's about consistently learning, developing skills, working towards goals strategically, building strong relationships, and making choices that favor long-term growth, like delayed gratification. It's about embracing the journey and using challenges as opportunities.
That's a perfect summary, Lisa. Remember, the long game is often the winning game in your professional life. By cultivating patience, you equip yourself with one of the most powerful tools for sustained career success.
Fantastic advice, Alex. I'm already thinking about how I can apply these principles to my own work.
That's what we love to hear. And this brings us to the end of episode 7. Next time, we'll be tackling perhaps one of life's messiest, yet most rewarding arenas, parenting with presence. Welcome back to the Patience Blueprint. Last time, we explored how patience can be a game changer for your career, helping you grow and achieve. Now, we're diving headfirst into what many might consider the ultimate test of patience, parenting.
Oh, Alex, you are not kidding. Parenting is like a masterclass in patience, isn't it? It feels like every single moment presents a new challenge that requires a deep breath and a whole lot of composure.
Absolutely, Lisa. And that's exactly what we're going to explore today in episode 8, Parenting with Presence, Patience in the Chaos of Family Life. We'll talk about why patience is so crucial when raising children and share practical strategies for navigating those inevitable moments of chaos.
So, Alex, let's start at the beginning. Why is patience so fundamentally important for parents? It's more than just not yelling, right?
Much more. Think about it. Children are learning about the world and themselves. They're developing their emotional regulation, their communication skills, their understanding of boundaries. This is a messy, often frustrating process for them, and it requires a patient guide. Your patience, as a parent, creates a safe space for them to learn and grow without fear of constant judgment or harsh reactions. It's about showing them that mistakes are opportunities to learn, not reasons for harsh punishment.
That makes so much sense. It's about modeling the behavior we want them to learn. And I imagine it also impacts our own well-being as parents.
Precisely. When we react impulsively, fueled by impatience, we often create more stress for ourselves and reinforce negative patterns with our children. Practicing patience, however, allows us to respond thoughtfully, to de-escalate situations, and to maintain our own peace. It helps us stay present, as our episode title suggests, instead of constantly getting caught up in the frustration. It's about being with our children in their moments, good and bad.
Speaking of frustrating moments, let's talk about the big ones. Toddler tantrums come to mind immediately. What can parents do when their little one is in the throes of a full-blown meltdown?
Tantrums are tough, there's no doubt. The first step, and this ties back to what we discussed in episode 3 about understanding your triggers, is to recognize that a tantrum is often an expression of overwhelming emotion or unmet needs. The child doesn't have the tools yet to manage those big feelings. For parents, it's crucial to try and remain calm. This is where a deep breath, a silent mantra, or even stepping away for a brief moment, if safe, can be incredibly helpful.
So, fighting the urge to match their energy with our own frustration.
Exactly. Aim to be the calm in their storm. Once they've calmed down a bit, you can validate their feelings. Phrases like, I see you were very angry because you wanted the blue cup can go a long way. This shows them you understand, even if you can't give them exactly what they want. And once they're regulated, you can then guide them on how to handle those big feelings next time. This isn't about letting them get their way, but about teaching them coping mechanisms through your patient guidance.
That's powerful. It's about teaching, not just reacting. What about sibling squabbles? Those can escalate so quickly.
Sibling squabbles are another classic parenting challenge. Again, the core principle is often to approach it with a desire to teach, not just to punish. If the conflict is minor, sometimes allowing them to work it out themselves, with gentle guidance, can be beneficial. It teaches them negotiation and conflict resolution skills. However, if things get heated, or if there's a safety concern, you need to step in.
And when you step in, what's the patient approach?
The patient approach involves active listening to both children without immediately taking sides. Help them articulate their feelings and what they want. For instance, you might say, Liam, I hear you're upset because Maya took your toy. Maya, I hear you were trying to play with it. What could we do differently next time? It's about guiding them towards a solution that addresses both of their needs, fostering empathy and problem solving. We're teaching them how to share, how to communicate their needs, and how to resolve differences peacefully.
So, it's about creating a little conflict resolution class in the middle of the living room.
Precisely. And this also applies to the general, everyday demands of raising children. The constant questions, the messes, the interruptions, it can feel relentless. This is where the presence in our episode title is so key. Being present means being mentally and emotionally available, even when you're exhausted.
How do we cultivate that presence when we're feeling drained and pulled in a million directions?
It requires conscious effort. It comes back to self-awareness and the strategies we've discussed throughout this series. Remember episode 3, where we talked about identifying your triggers? Being a parent means you've likely got a whole host of new ones. Recognizing those triggers, feeling overwhelmed, being interrupted when you're focused, allows you to pause before reacting. We've also talked about self-talk. Instead of thinking, I can't stand another messy kitchen, try, this is a moment where my child is exploring. I can address the mess in a bit.
That shift in internal narrative must make a huge difference.
It's revolutionary. And it's also crucial to remember that parental patience isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent and showing up with your best effort, even when it's hard. It's also about acknowledging when you've fallen short and modeling how to apologize and learn from it. This is a huge lesson for children, showing them it's okay to make mistakes and to work towards making things right.
And I imagine all of this helps prevent burnout too. When we're patient, we're not constantly in a state of high alert and frustration.
Exactly. Burnout in parenting is real, and impatience often fuels it. When we approach parenting with a patient mindset, We're more likely to find joy in the small moments, to connect with our children, and to manage the demands without feeling completely depleted. It allows us to see the long game, that these demanding years are temporary, and our patient presence is building a foundation for confident, well-adjusted adults.
So, to recap for our listeners, in parenting, patience is about creating a safe space for children to learn and grow, modeling emotional regulation, and maintaining our own well being. For challenging moments like tantrums and sibling squabbles, the key is to remain calm, validate feelings, and guide them towards conflict resolution and appropriate coping mechanisms. Cultivating presence involves self awareness of triggers and intentional, positive self talk.
Well said, Lisa. And remember, this journey of patient parenting is also a journey of self-discovery. By practicing patience with your children, you're actually deepening your own well of resilience and understanding. It's a true win-win.
It really is. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back to the Patience Blueprint. Last time, we explored how patience plays a crucial role in parenting. Now, we're turning our focus to perhaps one of the most rewarding yet challenging arenas, our relationships. Building bridges, not walls, takes incredible patience, and that's what we're diving into today.
Relationships, Alex. They are the threads that weave the fabric of our lives, aren't they? And when we think about what holds them together, especially through the inevitable bumps in the road, patience really does seem like the glue. It's about understanding and navigating the complexities of connecting with other people.
Exactly, Lisa. Think about it. Every single person we interact with, a partner, a friend, a family member, even a colleague, is a unique individual with their own thoughts, feelings, and experiences. They have their own pace, their own way of processing things, and yes, their own set of triggers that we briefly touched upon in episode 3 when we talked about understanding impatience.
Ah, yes, triggers. So, if someone has a trigger, say, being interrupted, how does patience come into play in a relationship when that trigger is hit?
That's a perfect example. Impatience in that moment might lead us to snap back, to feel frustrated, and maybe even interrupt them more, creating a cycle of conflict. But patience allows us to pause. It allows us to recognize that their reaction, while perhaps inconvenient for us, stems from something deeper. Patience lets us consider their perspective, even if we don't agree with it.
So, it's not just about controlling our own urge to react immediately, but also about making space for the other person's reaction, right? It's about giving them the benefit of the doubt, or at least the space to express themselves without immediate judgment.
Precisely. This is where empathy becomes a superpower for patients. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. When we can step into someone else's shoes, even for a moment, we can begin to understand why they might be acting a certain way. This understanding naturally breeds patience. It makes us less likely to take their actions personally and more likely to respond constructively.
And active listening must be a huge part of that empathy, surely? It's not just hearing the words, but truly absorbing what the other person is trying to communicate.
Absolutely. Active listening is a cornerstone of relational patience. It means giving someone your full attention, nodding, making eye contact, and asking clarifying questions to ensure you understand. Instead of formulating your rebuttal while they're still speaking, you're focused on grasping their message. This process itself requires patience, and it builds trust and connection. When people feel truly heard, they're more likely to be patient and understanding in return.
It sounds like a virtuous cycle. When I practice patience and active listening, it encourages the other person to do the same.
Exactly. And this is especially critical when navigating conflicts. Conflicts are a natural part of any relationship. No two people will always agree on everything. Impatience during conflict can escalate it into a full-blown argument, causing hurt feelings and damaged trust. Patience, however, allows for resolution.
How does patience facilitate conflict resolution? Specifically,
It allows us to approach the disagreement calmly. Instead of attacking, we can state our own feelings and needs using I statements like, I feel concerned when X happens, rather than you always do Y. Patience gives us the emotional regulation to do this. It also allows us to hear the other person's side without interrupting or becoming defensive, creating an environment where a win-win solution can be found rather than a win-lose situation. It's about finding common ground.
so instead of seeing conflict as a battle to be won, patience reframes it as a problem to be solved together.
That's a fantastic way to put it, Lisa. And it's not just about navigating the immediate conflicts, but also about weathering the more challenging, long-term storms in a relationship. Life throws curveballs, illness, financial stress, career setbacks. During these times, the patience we've cultivated within ourselves and shown in our interactions becomes a bedrock.
When one person is struggling, the other needs patience to support them without adding pressure. It's about understanding that they might not be at their best and offering understanding and support.
Yes, imagine one partner is dealing with a major health issue. They might be irritable, tired, or withdrawn. Impatience from the other partner could lead to feelings of guilt or resentment. But patience means understanding that this is a difficult period for them, offering unwavering support, and allowing them the space they need to heal and cope. This shared vulnerability, held with patience, can actually deepen a bond.
It's about weathering the storm together, rather than letting the storm break the relationship.
Precisely. And this extends to nurturing the relationship itself. Growth and change are constant. People evolve, interests shift, and circumstances alter. Patience allows us to appreciate these changes in our loved ones without demanding they remain static. It's about giving our relationships the time and space they need to grow and adapt. Think of it like tending a garden. You can't force a seed to sprout overnight. You provide the right conditions, water it, give it sunlight, and you wait patiently for it to bloom.
That's a wonderful analogy, Alex. Gardening requires so much patience, and so do relationships, in a way. You're cultivating something beautiful over time. It's not about instant gratification, it's about the long-term growth and flourishing.
And this long-term perspective is where patience truly shines. It's what allows us to move beyond the small annoyances and focus on the bigger picture, the shared history, the love, the commitment. It's patience that allows us to keep showing up day after day, even when things aren't perfect. This consistent effort, fueled by patience, builds deep, lasting bonds.
So, to recap for our listeners, patience in relationships is about understanding individual perspectives, using empathy to connect with others, active listening to truly hear them, and calm, constructive approaches to conflict. It's about supporting each other through hardship and allowing relationships the time and space to grow. It's about building bridges of understanding, not walls of frustration.
You've nailed it, Lisa. Patience isn't just about waiting. It's about how we act while we're waiting and how we engage with the people who matter most. It's the quiet strength that underpins every healthy, thriving connection.
It really is the foundation for building those strong, resilient relationships that enrich our lives so much.
Next episode, Forging Fortitude, Patience Through Hardship and Adversity. Welcome back to the Patience Blueprint. We're entering the final chapters of our series, and today we're tackling some of the toughest challenges life throws our way. Forging fortitude through hardship and adversity.
That's right, Alex. We've talked about patience in everyday annoyances in our careers and with our families and relationships. But what happens when the challenges are truly significant? When we're facing genuine hardship, how does our patience practice become a lifeline?
It becomes absolutely crucial, Lisa. Life isn't always smooth sailing. We all encounter storms, periods of intense difficulty, loss, disappointment, or prolonged struggle. In these moments, impatience can feel like a raging current, pulling us under. It fuels anxiety, despair, and can lead us to make rash decisions we later regret.
So, patience here isn't just about waiting calmly for a bus. It's about enduring, about holding on when everything inside us wants to give up or lash out. It's about building inner strength, isn't it?
Exactly. It's about cultivating a deep well of fortitude. Think back to the introduction to patience meditation. Those simple techniques, focusing on the breath, observing thoughts without judgment, help calm the mind. Those skills are rocket fuel when you're in the thick of it.
I remember that. The idea was to create a mental space, a buffer between a difficult situation and our immediate emotional reaction. It's like learning to steer a ship in a storm instead of just being tossed about by the waves.
Precisely. When you're facing hardship, your mind can race. It can get caught in loops of what ifs and why me's. Patience, in this context, means acknowledging those thoughts and feelings without letting them completely consume you. It's the ability to say, this is incredibly difficult, but I can get through this moment.
That sounds so simple, but the reality of experiencing true hardship is overwhelming. How do we bridge that gap between understanding the concept and actually applying it when we're in pain or facing serious loss?
The key is consistent practice, even when things are good. Those meditation sessions, those moments of conscious pausing, they build the neural pathways for resilience. When hardship hits, you're not starting from scratch. You have a foundation. It's like training for a marathon. You don't just show up on race day expecting to finish. You build endurance over months.
So, those small acts of patience we practice in our daily lives, choosing not to snap when someone cuts us off in traffic, waiting patiently for a slow computer to load, they're building that mental muscle for the bigger tests.
Absolutely. And when you're in a period of adversity, remember the conscious pause we discussed. Instead of reacting impulsively, you create a breath. You allow yourself a moment to think, to feel, and then to choose your response. This choice is where your power lies. Impatience steals that power. Patience gives it back.
When we were talking about career growth, patience meant persevering through setbacks and believing in our long-term goals. Does that same principle apply to enduring hardship?
It does, but with a different focus. In career growth, patience is often about delayed gratification for a future reward. When facing hardship, it's more about present moment endurance and steadfastness. It's about trusting that this difficult phase is temporary, even if you can't see the end of the tunnel yet. It's about finding meaning within the struggle itself.
Finding meaning within the struggle, that's a powerful idea. It reframes hardship from a purely negative experience into something that can, paradoxically, lead to growth.
It absolutely can. Think about how many stories of resilience are about people who found unexpected strength, compassion, or wisdom through their deepest challenges. This doesn't mean the suffering is good, but it means that human beings have an incredible capacity to adapt and grow, especially when they approach challenges with patience and a belief in their own inner resources.
So, when we're facing something truly difficult, like a serious illness, a job loss that upends our life, or a personal tragedy, we can use our patience practice to stay grounded. It's about accepting the reality of the situation without surrendering to despair.
Precisely. And one of the most important aspects of patience and hardship is self-compassion. When you're struggling, it's easy to be hard on yourself. Patience allows you to extend kindness to yourself, to acknowledge that you are going through something difficult and that it's okay to not be okay all the time.
Self-compassion is so important. It's like giving yourself permission to heal and to be vulnerable. I think that's often overlooked when we talk about strength. We equate strength with stoicism, but true strength, I'm learning, includes the ability to be gentle with ourselves.
It's a profound form of strength. And remember, The journey of cultivating patience is like forging metal. It requires heat, pressure, and repeated hammering to become strong and resilient. Adversity is that intense heat and pressure. Your patience practice is the hammer that shapes you.
That's a fantastic analogy, Alex. So, to recap this episode, when we face hardship and adversity, patience is our anchor. It's the practice of mindful endurance, allowing us to navigate challenges without being swept away by emotional currents. It's about trusting in our capacity to get through difficult periods, fostering resilience and self-compassion along the way. And it's built through the consistent practice we've been discussing throughout the series, especially the meditation techniques introduced earlier.
Well said, Lisa. It's about forging that inner fortitude that will see you through even the most challenging times. We have just 2 more episodes to go in the Patience Blueprint series.
That's right. In our next episode, we'll be diving deeper into mindfulness. We'll explore how to expand your patience meditation practice even further for greater peace and presence.
Thanks for listening. Welcome back to the Patience Blueprint. Today, we're diving deeper into patience meditation.
Last time, we learned about focusing on the breath to anchor ourselves. How do we build on that foundation for more robust practice?
Excellent question, Lisa. The key is consistency and introducing more sophisticated mindfulness techniques. Think of it like building a muscle. We'll start with longer, focused attention sessions, aiming for at least 10 to 15 minutes. This allows your mind to settle more profoundly. During these longer sessions, we'll practice something called open monitoring. This is where you expand your awareness beyond just the breath. You allow yourself to become aware of whatever arises in your present moment experience: sounds, bodily sensations, emotions, even wandering thoughts, without getting caught up in them.
Open monitoring, so it's less about focusing on one thing and more about observing everything that's happening and just letting it be there?
Exactly. And this is where the concept of non-judgment becomes so crucial. When thoughts or feelings arise, especially those related to impatience, your instinct might be to push them away or get frustrated. With open monitoring, you simply acknowledge them. You might mentally say to yourself, "Ah, there's frustration," or "a thought about being late." You label it gently and then return your awareness to your chosen anchor, which could still be your breath or perhaps bodily sensations.
I can see how that would be challenging. My mind races, and I often feel overwhelmed by those thoughts. It sounds like open monitoring is about creating space between the thought and my reaction to it.
That's a perfect way to put it, Lisa. That space is where patience resides. It's the pause before the automatic, impulsive reaction. Imagine your mind is a sky, and thoughts and feelings are clouds. In focused attention, you might be watching one cloud drift by. In open monitoring, you notice all the clouds, the blue sky, the wind, the sunshine, the entire weather pattern without trying to change it. You simply observe.
Okay, I'm visualizing that. So, the practice involves longer sessions of focused attention and then expanding to open monitoring, always with that non-judgmental observation. What else can we do to deepen this?
We can also introduce mindful movement. Many people associate meditation with sitting still, but mindful movement is incredibly powerful for patience. Think of a gentle walk, a slow yoga stretch, or even mindful dishwashing. The practice is to bring your full, non-judgmental awareness to the physical sensations of movement.
Mindful walking sounds interesting. So, instead of just rushing from point A to point B, I should be paying attention to how my feet feel on the ground, the swing of my arms, the rhythm of my breath as I walk.
That's it. And if your mind wanders to your destination or what you need to do next, you gently bring it back to the sensations of walking. This trains your mind to stay present, even when there's a desire to be somewhere else or to hurry. This directly combats impatience, which often stems from wanting things to be different than they are in the present moment.
That makes so much sense. It's about finding that presence during the activity rather than waiting for a quiet moment to be mindful. So, we have longer focused attention, open monitoring, and mindful movement. Are there specific techniques for when those impatient feelings are really strong, even during meditation?
Absolutely. When you encounter intense emotions or thoughts, we can use a technique called RAIN. It stands for recognize, allow, investigate, and non-attachment. First, recognize. Notice what's happening. I'm feeling really impatient right now. Second, allow. Don't fight it. Let the feeling be there. This is where we stop resisting. Third, investigate. Gently explore the sensation. Where is it in your body? What does it feel like? Is it hot, cold, tight, buzzing? Be curious, not critical. And fourth, non-attachment. See if you can let go of the need for the feeling to be different. Understand that it's temporary, like a wave passing through the ocean.
Rain, recognize, allow, investigate, non attachment. I like that. It breaks down an overwhelming feeling into manageable steps. I can see how that would help diffuse the intensity and prevent getting swept away by it.
Exactly. And by practicing RAIN during meditation, you build the capacity to use it in your daily life. So, when you're stuck in traffic, or waiting in a long line, or dealing with a slow internet connection, you have tools to meet that impatience with a greater degree of calm and acceptance. Remember when we discussed how impatience often arises from a feeling of being stuck or a desire for control? These mindfulness techniques give you a sense of internal freedom, regardless of external circumstances.
It's like building an inner resilience. We're not just trying to suppress impatience, but to understand it and work with it. So, to recap what we've talked about for deepening our patience meditation practice, we're extending our focused attention sessions, moving into open monitoring to observe whatever arises without judgment, incorporating mindful movement into our day, and using the RAIN technique, recognize, allow, investigate, non-attachment, to work with intense emotions.
That's a fantastic summary, Lisa. The ultimate goal here is to integrate this mindful awareness into every aspect of your life, not just during formal meditation. It's about cultivating a patient way of being. So, when life throws its inevitable challenges your way, you're not caught off guard, but rather equipped with the inner resources to meet them with greater equanimity and grace. You've built a solid foundation, and now you're learning to expand structure, making it stronger and more comprehensive.
It feels empowering to know we have these practices to fall back on. It's not about becoming a different person, but about uncovering the patient, calm person who is already there, beneath the layers of everyday stress and frustration.
Precisely. And this leads us beautifully into our next episode, where we'll explore how to navigate the unpredictable nature of life. We'll be talking about the art of letting go and finding patience even when things are uncertain.
That sounds like a perfect complement to what we've covered today.
Next episode, the art of letting go, patience with uncertainty. Welcome back to the Patience Blueprint. Today, we're embracing the art of letting go when uncertainty arises.
That's right, Alex. We've explored managing distractions, triggers, and even meditation. But now we tackle that tough spot, waiting when the outcome is unknown. Letting go is key here.
We naturally crave certainty. When things are unclear, anxiety and impatience creep in. But true patience, as we've learned, is about inner peace, even when circumstances are unsettled.
This peace often comes from accepting what we can't control. So much impatience comes from trying to force things to fit our expectations.
Exactly. Faced with uncertainty, We often try to bend reality. We might check our phones endlessly, overthink, or push for answers people don't have. These actions create internal turmoil and are signs of impatience fighting a losing battle.
It's like pulling on a seedling to make it grow faster. You just harm it. So, Alex, how do we practically let go when uncertainty is looming?
First, acknowledge the uncertainty. Tell yourself, I don't know what will happen, and that's difficult. This honest assessment is the first step toward acceptance.
So we stop fighting the not knowing and just notice it?
Yes, notice it without judgment. Then, gently shift your focus. Remember episode 11 on mindfulness? Bringing your attention back to the present moment is crucial. When you want to predict or control, return to your breath or immediate tasks.
That's a great link to our mindfulness deep dive. It's about grounding ourselves in the now, not getting lost in anxious what ifs. What else helps us stay calm during uncertainty?
Reframe your perspective. See uncertainty not as a threat, but as an opportunity for growth and resilience. Life rarely goes exactly as planned, and detours often lead to the best experiences. This echoes our career episode 7, where patience for growth means accepting nonlinear progress.
That reframing is powerful. It moves us from fear to potential. It also reminds us that our control is limited and we can't dictate the pace of external events.
Indeed, and this leads to practicing acceptance. Acceptance isn't liking a situation, it's acknowledging reality without resistance. Fighting reality is exhausting and counterproductive.
So, instead of this shouldn't be happening, we aim for this is happening and I'll navigate it.
Precisely. And as we navigate, use the skills we've built. If you spiral into anxiety, revisit the power of pause from episode 5. Analyze your self-talk. Are you being kind or fueling impatience with negative predictions?
That inner dialogue is so vital. If we constantly say this is a disaster or I can't handle this, our impatience grows.
Exactly. And remember the concept of controlled chaos from episode 8 on parenting? Even in messy situations, focus on small actions you can take. You can't control the news, but you can control your schedule, self-care, or a small, accomplishable task.
So, it's about finding pockets of control within the uncontrollable. That makes sense. It's strategic focus, not giving up.
It's releasing the grip of urgency for things outside our immediate influence. Think of a river. You can't stop it or control its destination, but you can adjust your position or build a stronger raft.
That's a wonderful analogy. It reinforces that patience is active, not passive. It's engaging mindfully with what is, not denying what isn't yet.
And this skill of letting go applies to everyday annoyances too. Remember episode 6, Navigating Everyday Annoyances? A delayed flight or a mistake requires accepting imperfection. Letting go of frustration is key to responding patiently.
So, to recap, embracing patience with uncertainty involves acknowledging the unknown, grounding ourselves in the present, reframing uncertainty as opportunity, practicing acceptance, managing self-talk, and focusing on controllable actions.
That's a fantastic summary, Lisa. These are the building blocks for a robust patience blueprint, even when the path is unclear. It's about cultivating inner resilience to weather the storms of not knowing. This is how we master waiting and winning. Next episode, we'll wrap up the series by looking at how to sustain this mastery of patience in your daily life. Welcome back to the Patience Blueprint. This is the final episode, number 13. We've explored the superpower of patience, learned techniques to manage impatience, and applied these skills to our lives. We've dissected distractions, understood our triggers, and discovered meditation and mindful self-talk. We've seen how patience benefits our careers, families, and relationships, and how it helps us navigate hardship and uncertainty. Today, we bring it all together to help you sustain this winning journey.
It's a little sad to be at the end, Alex, but also exciting. We've covered so much practical wisdom on patience. My biggest lesson has been that patience is an active skill, a choice we make in how we respond, especially when things are tough.
Exactly, Lisa. And that's what we want to solidify today, making patience a lasting habit. This final episode is about reinforcing the core elements of our patience blueprint and how to keep these practices strong. What are the most important takeaways for our listeners to carry forward?
Understanding our triggers has been critical. Remember how we identified those specific situations that spark impatience? Being a detective of your own mind allows you to prepare and use your patience tools before you get overwhelmed.
That's so true. Knowing your triggers helps you be proactive with your patience. And once triggered, how do we manage that internal reaction?
That's the power of pause. That brief moment between the annoyance and your reaction. It's where you can choose a patient, positive response instead of an impulsive one. We learn to interrupt that immediate feeling of frustration.
Yes, that pause is so vital. And what practices help create that pause and calm our inner response?
Patience, meditation, and mindful self-talk. Even a few minutes of meditation daily can help rewire your brain for calmness. And replacing negative self-talk with understanding and encouragement builds inner strength.
Our inner dialogue truly matters. It can either fuel impatience or help soothe it. And when we apply these skills in the real world, where do they make the biggest difference?
Everywhere. But we really emphasize careers for achieving long-term goals. Patience allows us to embrace the learning process, accept setbacks, and build expertise over time, which is key to real achievement.
And in our families, especially with children, patience is essential. Parenting with presence is about being fully engaged, adapting to chaos, and guiding with calm understanding. That's how strong family bonds are built.
And in relationships, patience is like glue. We called it building bridges, not walls. It helps us listen deeply, empathize, and navigate disagreements constructively. Patience truly impacts every part of our lives.
It does. And we acknowledge that life brings challenges. Our episode on forging fortitude showed that patience is crucial for enduring hardship. It helps us adapt and become stronger.
Then we went deeper with the mindfulness deep dive, enhancing our meditation, and explored the art of letting go with uncertainty. Accepting that we can't control everything, yet still moving forward with intention is powerful.
That acceptance is a sign of true patience mastery. It's understanding that sometimes the most patient action is releasing the need for immediate answers. So, how do we make all of this triggers, pauses, meditation, self talk, application, fortitude, and acceptance a lasting habit?
Continuous practice is the answer. It's not a one-time fix. Making these techniques a daily part of your routine, just like 5 minutes of meditation, leads to significant change over time. Consistency is key.
Consistency is absolutely vital, and we must stay curious and open to learning. Life changes, and so will the challenges. Adapting our patient strategies is ongoing personal development.
So, to recap, we've learned to identify impatience triggers, create a vital pause, and use meditation and self-talk to calm our inner storms. We've seen how patience improves our careers, families, and relationships, and helps us face hardship. We've learned to accept uncertainty and let go. The blueprint is complete, but the journey of practice continues.
Beautifully said, Lisa. A master of the patient's blueprint lives these principles daily. They see challenges as chances to use their skill. They know that winning the long game comes from waiting, persisting, and acting with intention. This series has given you the map and the tools. Now, the journey is yours. Keep practicing, keep growing, and keep mastering patience.
Thank you, Alex, for guiding us through this incredible series. It's been so insightful and inspiring.
And thank you to all our listeners for joining us on the Patience Blueprint. We hope this series has empowered you to embrace waiting as winning and to cultivate a more patient, fulfilling life. Thanks for listening to the series.